I really want to know what it is that you guys have to say about this Abby Lee Miller story, because it sounds major. Absolutely major. Like, I believe Nia 100%. I do remember some of the outfits and some of the things that she was made to do as a dancer on the show, some jungle themed stuff that was kind of strange. Or, having only her do like these, I don't know, certain like solos and stuff. But she goes into all sorts of details about all of that in her book that is actually currently available. I don't know if it's something, were you guys big Dance Moms fans or anything like that? The book is called Bottom of the Pyramid, and she really truly digs into her time over at the Abby Lee Miller Dance Company. And I wanted to share that with you guys, okay? So first of all, Nia started on the show for 7 seasons. She was on from 2011 up until 2017. Always there with her beautiful, elegant, just, amazing mom, Holly. I used to admire Holly. I used to be like, well, Holly gives such rich vibes. I'm like, what does this lady do in her life? She gives rich, rich, rich. So again, in her new memoir, she's now 24 years old, recalling an incident during season 2 where she had her hair in braids. And production, everybody was okay with the braids that she had in her hair. And so she didn't really think anything of it. It's a very classic, typical Black girl hairstyle, right? No big deal. But according to Nia, quote, Abby told me that I needed to fix my hair because it looked awful. She said, on camera, no less, it's like a log coming out of the side of her head. Very weird and rude thing to say to a child, right? And then Nia also described another incident that was not aired on the show, in which Abby allegedly asked her, don't you just wish you had white girl hair? And Nia didn't really understand the question. She was like, oh, this is a very strange thing to ask me. No, I don't. And Abby responded allegedly, oh, really? Like, you don't think it would be so much easier? And Nia responded again, no, it didn't matter what Nia said. What Abby said, I knew I didn't want to be white. Unlike the other exchange, this one never aired. That would have been absolutely brutal if it aired on television. So it would have ended the show, I believe. It would have caused a lot of outrage, because that's the thing about some of these other incidences or instances of racism is there's a certain level of plausible deniability. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Oh, I was ignorant to this and that, blah, blah, right? But when you're straight out saying things like that, there's no denying it. And so I think that producers and people perpetuators of this, they know that. And so they like to kind of toe the line in that way. So then she writes about how Abby's comments about her and her body got worse and worse as the show continued. And so apparently Abby used to accuse her of having, quote, bad feet. And she said that Black people were physically predisposed to having flat feet, which is crazy. I never heard about that. Absolutely insane. And she said, Abby would say, well, your people have flat feet, and quote, this struck me as ignorant. I know plenty of Black dancers with perfectly arched feet. Yet despite the fact that she actually believed this ridiculous generalization was true, she threatened punishment for my perceived shortcoming. If you don't point that foot, she'd warn, I'm going to come out there and break it. That's crazy. Listen, one thing about me is I got not a high arch, a good arch. I might show it to you guys to pay for my my big gulp cup that I want to buy. So she also said comments came directly from Abby and trickled down to some of the girls and their moms, criticizing my thighs, my butts, and even my muscular legs. At one point in season 6, Abby talked about the size of my thighs in the dressing room. This is a child, dude. This is why, shout out to my dancers, but this is why a lot of dancers seem to suffer from lifelong body image issues, like being picked apart for your body from such a young age like this. It is horrifying, truly, truly horrifying. And it leads to such disordered eating behaviors, and I hate that this happened to her. And I hate that this happens to anybody, in the dance world, any child in the dance world, right? She implied that I was fat because I was not working hard enough. This was just one of many comments Abby made to create an illusion that I was lazy or just not as strong as a dancer. Viewers and some of my castmates ate that up without question. And so there's another part in the book in which Nia talks about a lot of the solos that Abby gave her and how they had racial undertones to them. And this is the stuff that I was seeing as well when I was watching the show, right? So one of her first solos was called Natty of the Jungle. It's about a child left in the wild to be raised by monkeys. And then the next one she had when she was 8 years old was called Satan's Little Lamb. Like Abby was sending a very clear message with these solos, with the way that she spoke about her body, her hair. It's very disgusting that this was able to continue. And so Nia writes that her mom would often confront Abby about these routines. And sometimes her mom would have to bite her tongue because, Nia was excited about the routines because she was too young to understand the racial undertones of the routines that she was being made to dance to. So she gave an interview to People magazine about all of this. And this is an interview that she gave in May, right? And so Nia had said that she felt like, quote, my story wasn't told the way it should have been told on the show, which is what drove her to ultimately write this book. And so being the only Black dancer for a majority of the show had, quote, lasting effects on her. And she also says that there are certain aspects that she hasn't opened up about publicly or to her fellow cast members that we're going to discover in this book as well. Again, the book is currently available for sale, right? So I really feel for her, and again, like you saw some of this stuff play out on the show. I believe everything she's saying, and I feel terribly for her that this was her experience dancing for Abby Lee Miller. I think that all of these girls were traumatized and deeply, deeply scarred and hurt and damaged in one way or another, right, by their experience dancing for Abby Lee Miller. And that's why so many of them refused to speak to her, didn't show up for that, not the reboot, but the kind of like reunion sort of thing that they held. Like they're just not doing well because their delicate psyches as children were hurt, were bruised, were damaged, were played with, and I think that's really, really terrible. So let's get into some of these comments that you guys had left about the story, okay? And by the way, I'm also going to be dropping a call-in link. I know some of you guys might be at work or a little busy, but just in case you'll have a moment to call in, share your words, your thoughts, any opinions you have about this, please feel free to do so. I just put it in the chat box, okay? When he says, Nia was always one of my favorites too. She had a contagious smile. I could never forget her Laquifa dance, right? Acacia says, I believe Nia. It was obvious. See, I think a lot of you guys feel that same way too, that there was always something kind of going on with the way that she was treated on that show. Kahara says, I absolutely love Dance Moms, and I can absolutely believe Nia. Autumn Bree says the racism was very obvious on that show. My daughter was begging me to watch it for some reason. I finally let her watch a few episodes and didn't like what I saw, specifically the racism. It's always so sad to see this happen to, the Black girls on these television shows. I have to get into Selling Sunset, but from what I'm seeing, the way that even Chelsea is being treated this season, like she sent a bouquet of flowers to Mary, and Mary felt unsafe by that, and she had to shut down production and all this stuff and made a huge deal of being sent flowers, condolences and whatnot, like just very weird behavior overall. And then, don't forget what we were talking about yesterday with Huda and how she and Louis were laughing as people on their Instagram were calling Alondria racial slurs. Like it's very ugly. Summer Breeze says he barely even talk. Sorry, this is the K-Fed. I wanted to get back to that. Don't worry. I want to get back to that as well. Shem says, without any allegations from Nia, I feel like I saw the racism right on TV. Right. I agree. Becky says, today's my daughter's 15th birthday. Happy birthday to your daughter, Becky. Whoop, whoop. Oh, it's also Didi's birthday. Damn it. I'm sorry. It had to be that way. I'm so sorry. If it makes her feel any better, I share a birthday with Kitten Heels Clinton. Shem says, Abby Lee came into a job I worked back in the day. Lean closer. She came into a job I worked back in the day at Designer Shoe Warehouse on the Upper West Side. She had a mean attitude in general, in my opinion. I asked her if she was on Dance Moms, and she's all, yeah, damn. doesn't surprise me. Abby Lee, I feel like that thing went to her head and blew her head up. Now she and her little scooter, they think they run these streets. Cara says Nia stayed at the bottom of that pyramid. She really did. Like, it really felt like she never really had any chance, any upward mobility, as far as those things were concerned. And I feel like the only one that Abby really liked was, what's her name? Maddie or something like that. She was obsessed with Maddie, right? Wasn't Holly an educator? Didn't she have a PhD? Listen, I think she seemed like she to me was like Olivia Pope before Olivia Pope. That's how I would see her. Like, she would always come in with like her suit and stuff. My friend's mom was like that too. Like, she would come to all of his basketball games, right? And she would have her suit. She would have her laptop. I was like, I wonder what that lady does. Like, she just seems so powerful, like, and that's how I see her as well. Ramsey says that Dance Mom show is on TLC here, but I've never seen it. Even I have standards, LOL. It is absolutely an ish show. It really, really is. Okay, so there you guys go. She's sort of professor, principal. So she's in education and she's got her PhD. So she saw through all of this stuff, right? So you guys saw all this stuff play out on the show, and how nasty Abby was to Holly overall. I know she was nasty to all the girls, but there was a difference, in the way that she treated Holly particularly, that just, wasn't okay at all. Very, very, very sad. Very sad. Good morning, Sharjay. Nice to see you. I like that color of your lipstick. It looks good on you. Shem says, LMAO, my black has arched feet. So does my mom and my husband and a lot of other. Exactly. I'm like, where did she get this from? Like, that's crazy. Does Abby even have arched feet, or did they collapse from? And you know what, Shelby? Yeah, I kind of agree. Holly should be ashamed of herself for putting her daughter through that. Abby was wrong, but as a parent, you're supposed to protect your babies. And I agree. I think at a certain point, you pull out your child when you see this sort of thing happening. It's not okay what Nia went through, and we all saw it happening. And again, with Holly's background as a doctor, right, and an educator and a principal, I think that she could have done more to protect her from this. Hey, Faye, saying howdy and starting welcome to the Playback Posse. Boom. Siani, I love this name. I always saw being at the bottom of the pyramid as a positive thing. You were the foundation and main support for those on top. Well, listen, I like your mentality. But listen, we all know I didn't mean it that way. And I agree, Shem. She really did. She was sadistic to those children. I was always shocked that the moms would keep their kids on that. And when she would yell at them, listen, I'm a grown woman, right? And the yelling stresses me out. It gets my heart rate going because I'm not used to yelling. I didn't grow up in a yelling household. I don't yell. My friends don't yell. My lovers don't yell. Like, just seeing that is shocking. And so just, the fact that they would have their kids around that, exposed to that, like these toxic environments, was always so shocking to me. I was like, really? Like, is this the only dance company in the whole county or something that y'all can go to? Y'all can't find anybody else? Pull all your talents together, to somebody else? Cammy says JDF's daughter Jenna met Abby Lee when she was little. I think she was nice to her because her dad was there and he's a Power Ranger. And that's the thing about people like this, right? They pick and choose who they're going to be nice to. And it's typically people that are known in some capacity, right? I remember Holly did snap when Abby made a racist comment about Nia's hair when she had braids. It's crazy. Braids are so cute. Braids are so fun. Braids are so creative. I think Abby got out. Yeah, and I agree, right? And those girls were so freaking talented. They really, really were, right? Ramster's got an inflammatory question. Please educate me, but things as dance moms, honey boo boo, tiara stuff, isn't that very American culture, like cheerleaders and jocks, things in school? I don't know, as a Canadian, but I think it's just things that are amplified for entertainment value. Yes, there are certain subgroups of people that are really into pageantry or people that are really into dance or whatever, but like the actual culture or whatever, as it's represented and shown on TV, is more of something for entertainment value, I think. Yeah, I really think so. It's disgusting that the parents let Abby treat their children. Yup, I agree. I still can't believe that they stuck around for that, right? Absolutely insane. Just a nasty person. She is. She's so mean. Truly so freaking mean. Shem says she had canceled, she called ahead asking for this is more Abby Lee Miller tea. So apparently she was a biatch and she called ahead asking for every shoe in the store, size 11 or 12, be set aside for her. And it wasn't done. So I guess she was annoyed. That's not a service offered for a reasonable ask. Exactly. No. Who do you think you are? The president of the United States or something like that? We're going to be walking around. No. You come to the store. You look at the shoes you like. Then you ask for them specifically in your size. This is not a private, shut the store down, I'm buying out, the day from you guys sort of an experience. Absolutely freaking not. And exactly me. Winnie, that's what I always wondered. I was like, really, Abby, don't start. Don't start. Anyway, you guys, listen, that does it. Another episode of the Morning Report. Per usual, I had a great time chatting with you, and I'm looking forward to being back again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk more about the day's hottest stories. If you enjoyed today's episode of the show, please don't forget to give it a like, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye now.